So we're going to get started. And tonight we have a session. I'm going to give you a really simple little technique here that I think can change your life when you apply it the right way. So tonight's call is on integrity. So I want to hear from some of you, if you would like to share, what do you think integrity is? How would you define integrity? So you can think about it for yourself. You can leave a comment. You can share if you'd like. Yeah, Veronica.
Sure. To me, it's living according to your own values, following the values, and being, I guess, honest with yourself. Because if you're not honoring your values, you're kind of living out of integrity. And I think a lot of times we honor other people, but a lot of times I feel most of us probably don't honor our own values about a lot of things.
Yeah, so we've got values on the brain because we just did that a few weeks ago, right? So that's good. Martin says being true to yourself. Peter says doing the right thing, honesty and principles. So for today, we're going to use a simple definition that is doing what you say you're going to do. So integrity in today's example is just doing what you say you're going to do. How often do we make these grand plans? We commit to other people or to ourselves to do all of these things, and we don't. How easy is it to say we're going to do something, especially to ourselves, and then not do it? Right? This is where we lose integrity with ourselves. And so again, I saw Stacy just got on. So integrity is doing what you say you're going to do. Now, this is simple. This, you may think like, oh, how do I apply this? But here's the application is integrity is building a relationship with yourself. So I think all of you saw my email. So if I commit to do something with you or for you, and I don't do it, after a few of those times, you're going to stop trusting me and our relationship is going to be damaged. Yes? You all have people in your life like this that they say they're going to do something and you're like, they're not going to follow through. Yep. So that's integrity in this example. And when you don't do that with someone, you ruin the relationship. Well, what relationship is more important than the relationship with yourself? And how easy is it to say, oh, I'm going to get up at 5 a.m. and then not do it because no one else is counting on you, right? It's often easier to commit to someone else. And you know, if you say, hey, I'll meet you at the gym at 6 a.m., you got to go because that person's there. But if you say to yourself, I'm going to go to the gym at 6 a.m. and that alarm clock goes off, you're like, I can sleep in. But you're damaging the relationship with yourself because you're not acting in integrity. You're not doing what you say you're going to do. Everybody's on board with this. You know examples of this in your life where you're like, oh, I'm gonna have a salad for dinner, and then you crush a whole leftover pizza, right? These little things damage our relationship with ourselves and we lose trust. So I'm gonna give you a simple principle here today to rebuild that, to start to get these little wins. Because what is self-esteem if not esteem in yourself that you are going to do what you say you're going to do? How can we separate self-esteem with integrity? And then how can we also separate rapport with integrity as well? Because that rapport with ourselves, that esteem with ourselves, that integrity with ourselves, it's all the same thing. And it's all us doing the things we say we're going to do. And so when so many people, they want to achieve these big goals and they ask their subconscious mind and they visualize these things and they ask their subconscious mind to do something so massive when they haven't even followed through on the little things. So we're going to put a plan in place this week to do the little things, to get little wins, to commit to yourself on these little tiny wins and get multiple wins throughout the day, to get these little dopamine spikes, to get these little self-esteem boosts so that you feel like you can trust yourself. And then when it comes to something important, you tell your subconscious mind to do it, and it does it because it knows when you ask it to do something, it's going to follow through. Does that sound good? All right, so I'm going to teach you this little hypnotic principle that we're going to apply in building our relationship with ourselves. How many of you are familiar with the term compliance set? You'll know what a compliance set is. It's when you ask somebody to do something small and then you work up to bigger asks, right? We don't have somebody forget their name right away. We just have them take a deep breath. And then we may have them close their eyes. And so when you ask these just little steps and you ask bigger and bigger things as you go, it builds compliance. So what we're going to do with ourselves is throughout the day, you're going to pick one task at a time, and you're just going to say, all right, there's this one task. I'm committing to this one thing. And you ask your subconscious mind to do it, and then you go do it. And you're like, all right, I got that done. How many of you have ever been at the gym on the treadmill or the stationary bike, and you sit down, or you sit down and you start pedaling or you start running on the treadmill and you think, all right, I'm going to run for a half an hour. And you get 10 minutes into it and you think, I think I'm going to go home and eat. Like, this is kind of stupid. I'm not really, I don't really need to do this. And you cut that time short. How many of you have ever experienced that? All right. So that is what we're going to change right now. When you commit to something, you follow through no matter what. And not because you need an extra 10 minutes on the treadmill, but because you need to build that relationship with yourself. So in the book, The Richest Man in Babylon, which is a fantastic book if you haven't read it yet, he talks about, if I commit to myself when I'm walking down the path every day, that I'm going to pick up a stone and throw it in the creek. He says, I do it every day. And if I forget, I go back and I throw it in. I don't come back the next day and throw two in. He's like, I don't pick up a handful of stones and throw them all in at once just to be done with it. If I commit to myself that I'm going to do something, I do it. And it's the commitment and the relationship with yourself that's more important than the task, more important than staying on the treadmill the whole time, more important than not eating the right thing or getting up at the right time. So we're going to do a couple exercises here and examine our lives and see where we're making commitments and not following through. And so one thing that happens when you start to do this is you start to commit to less things because you go, you know what? If I say I'm going to do that, I'm going to have to do it. And I'm not sure I'm ready to commit to that. So a lot of times I have some friends that will ask me if I want to do things, a couple of weeks out, and I won't commit to it because I don't want to say yes and then have my plans change or not be able to follow through, or if I'm not sure I can go. So it may seem like I'm non-committal, and on some things I am, and I'm happy to be, because the things that I commit to, I want to know for certain, no matter what comes up, I'm following through on that. And if you could do that with yourself, and every time you say you're going to do something, you know that it's going to get done, how different would your life be? How different would you feel about yourself? All right, so let's take a moment and examine some areas of your life that you've made commitments and you aren't following through on them, or you're not following through to the level that you should. And so we're gonna do just a quick exercise. You're just gonna journal these things down, and I want you to look at these things, and some of them you're gonna cross off and you're gonna say, you know what? I'm not gonna commit to that anymore. And some of them you're gonna look at and say, you're gonna double down on it and you're gonna commit even more. Does that sound good? And then we'll do some hypnosis here. All right, so let's just take a deep breath, get comfortable. Get situated. You can close your eyes if you want. And just feel that sense of expansion and relaxation. As you begin to connect with that unconscious part of you, that part of you that knows everything about you, that manages all of your resources, that manages all of your commitments, and your ability and desires to follow through. And I want you to ask your subconscious mind right now, what things have I committed to that I'm out of integrity with? In what areas of my life am I not doing what I say I'm going to do? And those answers should begin to come to you automatically as you just allow them. And what things am I committed to that aren't serving me, that I'm no longer willing to commit to? So in what areas of your life are you not following through on your commitments? Are you out of integrity? And which of your commitments are you ready to let go? Which commitments are no longer serving you? So in a moment, you're just going to open your eyes and journal. Just write down those things that came up, the unconscious responses. What are the important areas of your life, or the things maybe that you say are important, but your actions aren't reflecting that? In what areas are you incongruent? And what would your life be like if those things that you were incongruent on, those things you were out of integrity on, you began to follow through consistently? What would happen to your self-esteem? What would happen to your self-respect? So I'd love any shares. If anyone wants to get personal here, do a little expose on any areas of their lives they're not following through on like they'd like to.
Maybe
Yes,
someone could
Sarah.
share their goal. Sarah.
Yeah. So this is interesting. So I'm actually going through a divorce right now. So one of the things that came up for me was the not like I realized I didn't follow through with a commitment to myself with my non-negotiables entering that union. That's super powerful and has poured over into all areas of my life. And I realized that because of that, I haven't been honoring my commitments. Like I've fallen behind. And for instance, being with you guys on a weekly basis, I think I'm a month behind in the values videos and studying and going out there and creating content for my business. So that was really revelatory to me. I just had that aha moment just now that by committing to something or someone outside of myself, I actually did myself a disservice because I wasn't honoring my values. And that's huge. It's a huge epiphany.
Good. And how does that change your relationship with yourself once you get that ironed out?
Yeah. Um, Definitely deepening self-respect, motivation, self-love, just self-acceptance, even just that attitude toward myself of, because now I can pour all that energy back into myself, all the energy that I was
Mhm.
sort of, even just with the potential of reconciliation. And now that everything's sort of closed off, it's like, okay, all of that energy that was siphoning out can now come back to me and my business and creating my empire with my hypnotherapy business, which wasn't supported in the marriage. So this is actually huge for me.
Good.
So
Good.
yeah.
And last question, what's one compliance set? What's one little integrity commitment that you can commit to for yourself that to get those small wins every single day?
I definitely I need to commit to a schedule, like doing, let's say, 3 things a day, that whether it's a video, committing, an hour a day or something like that to my content, and really just, because honestly, I had a client today, my very first private client, and I felt so
Congrats.
energized. Thank you.
That's
It was
awesome.
amazing.
Yeah.
And I felt so good and I wanted more. I want more of that. So that's where all of my energy is being channeled. But I have to, in order to do that, I have to put myself out there and create and make sure that I stick to a daily routine, not just, sort of haphazardly, which is kind of how I've been playing it, but actually committing to myself, committing to my business.
So here's something that I have struggled with, and I see a lot of people as well, is we think, I got to do these 3 things every day. I got to do a podcast and a YouTube video and this and see these clients, and it's so much that we make these commitments and then we have trouble following through with them. And what I'm encouraging everybody today is if you can find time in the day to do those 3 things, that's awesome. But I want you to find that like one commitment that you absolutely know without a doubt that you can do, something that will move your business forward, but it's so small and easy that you almost take it for granted. So there's this quote, and I think I've said it on here before, but it's the things that are easy to do that make you successful. The problem is they're also the things that are easy not to do. And so it's not like having some big drawn up plan. It's just doing the simple fundamentals every day, building that relationship with yourself. So, a lot of people, if you don't have a good relationship with your subconscious mind, or let's say you're not in a good routine of creating content yet, don't have this plan to create a piece of content every single day. Just have this one commitment to put out one piece of content and get that win under your belt, build that rapport, and then do a second piece, and then start to build up to that piece of content a day. Because I think most people, we have these massive commitments and we want to go from 0 to millionaire overnight, but it's the one, right? Like I think everybody here, we all want that, right? But it's that one action step at a time that you have to win every single piece at a time. And if you try to do it all at once, that's when you overcommit and you lose that rapport with yourself. You lose that integrity because you get swamped and it's just overwhelming. And then you're like, and you don't get the dopamine spikes from checking off your to-do list. Instead, you get overwhelmed. Does this make
Yeah,
sense?
they say if you throw a ball at someone, they can catch it. If you throw 2 balls at someone, they'll catch one. And if you throw 3 balls at somebody, they won't catch any. And it's a bit like that when we set ourselves these little goals. Now commit to one thing that is gonna it's gonna make a change in your life. And like Nick says, do that. If you do that for just a few days, then you've got that belief in yourself. Then you can add to it. Then you've got that as it's like anything with our unconscious learning, isn't it? We want those things to become something we're doing automatically. And if you do it for 3 or 4 days, then it becomes an automatic thing. I get up at 8 o'clock in the morning and I do this. Then you can add something else to it because that's now running as an automatic program. Then you can add to it. As like Nick's saying, if you're trying to do 3 things, we end up doing none of them in the end, or not doing them. We don't commit to it. So, and for you now, Sarah, I have to tell you, you know what it feels like now. That buzz you get from helping somebody with hypnosis.
Yeah, I love it.
all you have to do is keep reminding yourself of why you're going to do this next thing. And because you want that feeling, don't you? You know, I've been saying to you for weeks and weeks, when we do our, what I call a future pace, and I say, go out into the future, step into that future self, feel into it, get a sense of what it feels like, and ask the question, how much fun is this? How much fun can I make it? Because like you do now, Sarah, now, once you know how good you're going to feel, everything about your nature is inclined toward making it happen. And whether that's a physical goal, spiritual goal, emotional goal, career goal, whatever it might be, if we know how good we're going to feel when we're achieved it, then we don't need to have the same, keep motivating ourselves every day, because in the back of our mind, we know how good it's going to feel. So, as I said, you know, if you do what Nick says, and it's like one bit of content a day, but you just say, I'm going to do this today. When I see people weight loss, you know, and they're looking at a goal 3 months, you know, a year away, and I say, just focus on what we can do today, and do that day by day. Then it becomes an automatic function, as we call it, and it just runs. We find it easy to do, you know, and those are the things that build towards creating that change in your life that you want.
So could that one thing just be not necessarily a video, but maybe something I write, maybe an outline for a video, or researching, you know, for a video?
Whatever it is, but commit to one thing. And it is the commitment. It's saying to yourself, I'm going to do this, and I'm not going to let anything push me off my path. You know, the dog needs walking, you know, someone knocking on the door, someone asks for something, the telephone goes, you know, you've got to say no. This is between this time. You know, when I see people for weight loss, and I say, you know, we're talking about maybe an hour and a half a week to change your body. And sometimes, but that, you know, but then that's even, they don't think of it like that. When you think of it, if I just do 15 minutes a day and commit to that 15 minutes a day, you don't think about a year from now when you're going to be you know, you've achieved your goal. Every day, you do that 15 minutes, and then you start to see those changes, and that creates that joy in your life and gives you that impetus to continue to do it. Then you can add, once that's running automatically, every day I'll write a piece of something for a video. That becomes automatic. And then you say, right, now I'm going to make a video. And then that happens. But start with one thing that you know you can't fail at and commit to it. It's just think how it doesn't take a lot, does it, to change our lives? If we commit, it doesn't take a lot. 15 minutes a day is going to change your body. You know, 15 minutes a day, you could, if you said, right, I'm going to spend 15 minutes a day studying AI, you would learn that in a month. You know, if you said, I'm going to spend 15 minutes a day just getting my heart working, you would change your body in a month's time. You know, they're not massive commitments, but if you're looking at doing all these things you have to do at once, as I said, if you throw 3 balls at someone, they won't catch any.
Yeah, Freddie. And I think more importantly than the result even is the relationship with yourself, right? I know you heard my talk on how I ran a marathon without training for it. And that's a big ask of a body and of a subconscious mind, is to do something like a marathon without training. But I had built up a reputation with myself through years of training, years of exercise, eating right, pushing myself to the limits. This wasn't like I just got off the couch and decided to do it. And so with every workout through the years, I had built up that reputation with myself that I know I could do hard things. And so that's what I want for you, is every little one of these to be a little win. So, you know, when it comes down to building a massive business or doing something really big and really important, that you've got that capital with yourself. You've got that time on task, you got the reputation, the investment, and you know you can step up and do anything. But it comes from these little wins every single day. And so we should probably do another call in the future on some goal setting stuff. But John Overdurf, I don't know if any of you are familiar with him. He's an NLP trainer, and really, really good stuff. But he talks about beyond goals. And basically what he has people do is, and we do this as well, but you step into the end state of the goal you want to achieve. You know, what is it like? We talk about the end state all the time. And then you just ask, what's the next smallest step? And that next smallest step then becomes your compliance set for yourself. That becomes your integrity commitment for yourself. So I want to build something. I want to build a business, a relationship, change my body, change a habit. Okay. And then you step into it. What's it feel like? What's it look like? What's my life like then? Who am I? Okay. For me to get this, what's that next smallest step? Oh, I need to end this relationship. Oh, I just need to go to the store and get some healthy food. I need to book a trainer, whatever that next smallest thing is. That's your win. That's your next step forward. And then you get win after win after win by committing to these compliance steps. Is this resonating with everybody? So as you go throughout your week, I want you to think, all right, what's my next task? And I want you to say, all right, I'm going to make a commitment to do this one thing. And I'm not going to get distracted. Like just this one thing, I'm going to do it till it's complete. And then you do it and you get your win. And that also means not committing to things that aren't important to you or that you're not 100% sure you're going to follow through on. And if you start to do this, you will notice your relationship with yourself and your self-esteem will start to change within a matter of days. That's not cool. Anybody else want to share? Any other insights? We'll do a little bit of hypnosis here. Hold on, we had some messages here. So Koch asked, could it be to commit to do something for 15 minutes instead a day instead of committing to this something itself? Yeah, it's whatever it is for you. This is a flexible process. You know the outcome that you want to achieve. You know what you can commit to and follow through on, and that's what I want for you. Just something that makes sense. All right, good. Everybody, you want to do some hypnosis? Any questions? What would be some good outcomes or suggestions for this process? So I want you to think, if you were working with a client and you wanted them to be, maybe to follow through more, maybe to be more consistent, what kind of suggestions would you give them if you were doing a process like this? We should start having them do this more, Freddie. Having them come up with the suggestions for themselves and just practice. So one thing that I like to repeat a phrase over and over in some of these hypnosis processes, like I will persist until I succeed. And so the one I came up with today is, I do what I say I'm going to do. I'm a person of integrity. I do what I say I'm going to do. Small steps cover large distances. Sarah says, I love myself enough to commit to myself. Yes, love it. It doesn't have to be perfect, but I will do it. Good. Sarah, you need to do get through the values program too. I think you'll get a lot out of that. So, all right, let's get comfortable. Let's get situated. And let's go into the depths of your unconscious mind. And take a moment to appreciate how far you've come. All the time, all the weeks, the months that we've worked together, where you've developed that relationship with your unconscious mind, your unconscious resources, the power and the genius within you. And find yourself at the foot of a mountain path with your eyes closed, looking down across the valley to a mountain peak across the way. That is your destination. That is your outcome. That is your end state, that peak. And as you see the sun rising over that mountain peak, you take one step at a time, moving forward, seeing that path move beneath your feet, seeing the scenery change, the trees, the flowers, the wildlife. Noticing how good it feels to get momentum, to make progress. And you think of that one thing that you're committed to doing, that one thing in your life that represents that mountain peak. And as you continue to move forward, I want you to really assess, is that something that I'm committed to? Am I fully committed to that outcome? And if not, find something else. And as you continue to walk down this path, you lock onto that commitment, to that one goal, that one outcome. And you know that you will achieve it because you do what you say you are going to do. You are a person of integrity and you follow through on your commitments. Continually moving forward, taking the next smallest step towards that outcome. And you may realize now, what is that next smallest step? What is the smallest step towards that peak, towards that pinnacle that you can take every single day? And rehearse and imagine taking that step every single day. Because you do what you say you're going to do. You are a person of integrity and you build that self-esteem. And imagine successfully every day, step by step, completing that task. Building that rapport with yourself on that one most important commitment. And notice how good it feels to have progress and momentum, knowing that you are a person of integrity. And that you do what you say you're going to do. And as you continue moving forward into new territory, new landscapes, you may realize how far you've come and how good it feels to have this momentum. And you may realize that you're carrying with you unnecessary weight of old commitments And think about what those old commitments might be. And just like a backpack full of rocks, you can shrug that off your shoulders and let those old commitments go. Feeling lighter. Feeling more agile. With every step, a win. With every step you follow through. With every step, you know you will persist until you succeed. And notice what your life is like as you move forward, as you accomplish this, as you get win after win, as you build this relationship with yourself and accomplish that goal, that commitment, that pinnacle that you set out to accomplish. And notice how good it feels to accomplish that. Notice what your life is like. And people may say you got lucky. But you know that you succeeded because you did what you said you were going to do. You followed through on your commitments because you are a person of integrity. And before you know it, you realize you're at the top of that mountain, at the pinnacle, looking down on the greens of the valleys and the blues of the river. And even looking down on the clouds. Getting a perspective from the pinnacle, from the top of this mountain. Knowing that small steps covered great distances in what seemed like no time at all. And from this perspective, looking down on your entire life, just notice what there is to appreciate. Notice how far you've come. Notice that feeling of victory. Because you followed through on those small commitments day after day. Because that's just the type of person you are. And you got here because you do what you say you're going to do. And with this feeling of victory from this perspective, realizing that those small steps can carry you those great distances. Knowing that you always persist until you succeed. Find that feeling of victory, that feeling of success, that feeling of integrity inside of you. And notice what color it is. And as you inhale, just feel that feeling expand. That's right. Expanding through your entire aura, through every cell of your body. Locking in this character trait, this virtue of integrity, of commitment, of momentum by getting small wins every day. And when you're sure that's locked into place, into every cell in your body, ask your subconscious mind, command your subconscious mind. with exactly what you want it to do going forward. What is that next smallest step you can continually take? And let your subconscious mind lock onto that as its target. And when that's locked into place, you can feel that energy, that vibration in every cell of your being. You can let that scene begin to fade. Still feeling like you're at the top of that mountain. That feeling of victory, momentum, success will carry with you every day. And it will build every day more momentum, more energy, more rapport, and more integrity with yourself. And as your unconscious mind begins to make all of those changes, imagine breathing in through your fingertips, breathing in through your toes, pulling oxygen into every cell, feeling expanded, feeling more aware and more alive. In a moment, I'm going to count from 1 to 5. These suggestions will lock into place. This feeling will lock into place, carrying with you and strengthening every day. 1, feeling aware of your weight in the chair. 2, excited about the momentum that you're going to carry with you. 3, knowing that small steps will cover great distances. 4, you are the kind of person who does what you say you're going to do. And 5, eyes opening, feeling alive and aware, feeling that sense of victory and momentum, and rejoining us back for the breakthrough broadcast. How we doing, everybody?
So Nick, could we let's say you're got a fitness goal,
Mm-hmm.
could you say, like, set a workout? So maybe say press ups, sit ups, whatever, for 30 minutes or whatever it is. And could you make that the workout the one thing you're going to commit to, rather than I'm going to do 10 press ups a day, or I'm going to do a 30-minute walk a day? Could you lump things together and commit to one kind of process? Make that the one commitment? Was that
You mean
too
just
too big a
use kind of
commitment?
use a generic workout as your commitment? Is that what you mean?
Yeah.
Yeah,
Or
absolutely.
let's say in Sarah's case, to do with a business, it might be that look at it as a set of things to do. Write a blog, or
Mm-hmm.
make a video. Rather than like, I'm going to make a video today. Could you have a group of things that are one commitment?
Absolutely. Yeah. And even you could just have one item as I'm just going to get my first blog out. I'm just going to get my first video out. Just that one commitment, knock that out, and then move on to the next one. And I would say commit to less. Less is more, because you're going to get wins. You can, if you say, you know what, I'm just going to get on a treadmill for 15 minutes in the morning, and you get on the treadmill and you get your 15 minutes done, you can always go longer, right? You get momentum. It's easier to carry forward. But it's hard to say, oh, I got to go spend an hour on the treadmill, and that seems like a huge commitment, and then you don't do it, and then you lose track entirely. But if you're like, you know what, I'm just going to do 15 minutes. We can all do 15 minutes. We can all do that little step. And so the important thing is to keep that momentum and to get the win. It's not to have some massive step forward. It's these little wins every single day. So while we're on here, if anybody wants feedback or help on their items or coaching, let's bring it up. So I mean, we're happy to get to simplify things or help you get clear. If anyone has any specific questions on what
Nico,
they're
why
working.
don't you split us up in breakout rooms so we've got an accountability partner and then we can follow up even better than just sharing with the group, maybe?
I love that.
Some of us wouldn't like that though, Nick.
Okay. Okay. Well,
And I know that for a fact. Just from
okay. Well, one thing we could do is
not me, I'd go. But I know,
we could do breakout rooms, and then if you don't want to go, you could just stay with us.
You don't have to accept it if you don't want
Right.
to.
That's
Yeah,
right.
That's a good idea.
All right. Let me see. Hold on. Let me see.
You know, on these small wins, Nick, I know I hate running. I've always never, I could run, you know, I could run short distance sprints. I was in the team for sprinting, but long distances I've never liked. Yeah, when I wanted to get fit years ago, I had those small wins. So before I went to bed at night, I'd put my tracksuit and trainers out. That was my commitment, just to put them on. Yeah. And I wake up in the morning, and my next commitment was to put them on. I never
Mm-hmm.
thought any further than that. I'm just going to put my tracksuit and trainers on. I knew I had the willpower to do that. And then once I had my tracksuit and trainers on, I thought, got my tracksuit and trainers on, I might as well go for a run. You know, but if I'd thought about going for a run, I would never have done it. So I started by just saying every night I'm going to put my tracksuit and trainers, put them out ready, you know, ready to wear. And then the next commitment was every morning when I get up, before I do anything else, I'm going to put my tracksuit and trainers on. And then I'll find myself in my tracksuit and trainers thinking, I might as well go for a run. So that was how I could get myself into running because I didn't like it. But that was kind of small wins, you know, small commitments that got me to the end goal.
That's perfect, Freddie. I love that. I love that. All right. So I've got breakout rooms set up here. So I think I want to do assign automatically. So it should be 3 to 4 participants per room. And if you don't want to go, you'll just stay here with us. We'll do 5 minutes. Is that enough time? 10 minutes? 5 minutes? 5. All right. Let's see what happens. I've actually never used a breakout room before. So
You know,
I mean, I've been a part of them. I've never led
That's a
one.
good
So
commitment.
yeah, this is my little step here. All right.
I'm going to be in one of those rooms, I expect.
All right. So everybody's got a request? Oh, there we go. So Freddie, you can, on the right side, you can join a room.
You're not putting me in one randomly just because.
I
stick
think
me
I
in
put co-hosts don't automatically go in.
all right. I'd rather been randomly put in it's more exciting. Like roulette. I don't have a choice to join or not choice to join, but I've got. But are these everyone here as the people who are not going? Is that right?
Yeah,
I think
I don't want to be accountable at the moment.
Okay.
You know
well,
what?
We can just
If
we can just talk amongst ourselves for 5 minutes then.
Gwen, I actually love that because, you know, there's a time not to commit. And I think if you're not ready to commit, then don't.
Well, I don't want to be accountable to anybody else. Let's see if I can be accountable to me.
Okay.
That's a good idea. Yeah.
Because
I
bottom
agree.
line is, it doesn't matter whether I am accountable to anybody else.
Can I just say, I think initially when we're doing this, we should set the bar so low. And I got this from Anthony's new book, to set the bar so low that you're not going to fail initially and then raise it in little bits.
Yes, absolutely, Lynn.
Commitment. Yeah.
Freddie, were you timing? I was supposed to be timing, wasn't I?
I think we're about a minute in.
I think it's more than that. Martin, did your group have time? Did you guys all done? Oh, he's trying to unmute.
I tell you, I was out of breath by the time I got to that top of that mountain.
One thing, Nick, you did say, Nicholas, you did say during that, and that nearly brought me out. You said going down that path, and we were going.
Yeah, I realized it as I said it because I was kind of picturing like a path down into a valley and then up a mountain, and so I think I realized that as I was doing it.
I just ignored it.
Could it be that mountain right behind me? See,
It's that was the one I was picturing. Yeah,
It was me too, darling. That's what I was thinking of as well.
And look,
Yeah, seriously, there's the path. Yeah. Yeah. I didn't even get to the end of that road before I was breathing heavy.
All right, what do you think? We can close it out?
I would give him another minute.
All right, we'll give it another minute.
I had a commitment to a couple of months ago to going in Mike Mandel's place. They have a practice room, and they UK time every day 4:30. You go in and you chat, and you get to practice with other people hypnosis. And I went in religiously every day because I could. But then my work, we got busier because it's a caravan park. So in the summer, we got busier and busier and busier. And I didn't go in. I stopped going in. And
It doesn't take much, does it, to knock us off our goal? You know,
It did.
Our unconscious mind doesn't need much of an excuse.
No, not
to
at all.
stop doing, you
And
know.
I just stopped. And I loved going in there. And I stopped for about 2 months over, and I was getting really good, practicing, and I went back in this week, and that's my commitment this week.
Good.
I'm going in most days, and yeah.
Alison's here. That's nice to see. You made it. I started about 2 weeks ago. Before I go to bed at night, I put a litre of water in the fridge. And I forget who it was. Maybe Barbara, whatever her name is, the Australian health guru woman. She talks about putting a crystal of sea salt under your tongue and then drinking this water. And I started doing it, and now it's just like I do it all the time. And it's just something I do every time I get up in the morning. I drink this litre of water. I put a pinch of Baja salt because what's his name? Brecker said to do it. That's the best salt apparently. So I put a pinch of salt under my tongue and drink this litre of water before I do anything else in the morning. And it's become something I just do automatically now.
I get the water, Freddie, but what's with the salt? How does that
Well,
benefit?
it's just a small pinch of salt because Baja salt, according to Gary Brecker, Nicholas's friend, he interviewed him before he was famous. Not Nicholas was famous, before Brecker was famous. He says that Baja salt is 92 of your the minerals you need in your body. Out of 102, there's 92 of those minerals you get from salt. And our body's mostly salt. So, it's not, it's just a pinch of salt. I put it under my tongue, drink this litre of water first thing in the morning.
How do you spell that, Freddie? How do you spell the
Baja,
bar?
I think it's bar and ha. I think it is anyway.
B-A-J-A, Baja, like Mexican Baja Peninsula.
Yeah, so that's a commitment I made myself a few weeks back, and I've been doing it ever since.
So
Okay.
one reminder that Lynn said when you guys were in your breakout rooms was it should be so small that you can't lose, right? Like it's so easy for you to get this win. And that's what I want you to think about. And the other thing is, it doesn't have to be something you can commit to now, but it's a frame of mind, right? Like when you get on that treadmill and you start going and you say, you know what? Just make a commitment to yourself. I'm going to go for 15 minutes. I'm going to go for 20 minutes. And then no matter how bad you want to get off, you just stay on because you made a commitment to yourself. So as you're going about your day, you can think, all right, what's my commitment right now? And then you commit to that one thing. That's your focus at the time. You get that win, you check it off. But again, small, simple steps. Because it's easy if you're on a treadmill and you don't have a goal or a destination to be like, I'm ready to go get some lunch. Right? But if you're like, you know what? I'm committed to 30 minutes. It's also pretty easy to follow through with that. But it's just that awareness of what am I committed to right now? Having the end in mind, deciding your outcome. Small steps cover great distances. All right. Anybody else want to share? Get some good accountability for the week?
Has everyone made a commitment to doing one thing tomorrow or today? Yeah? Doreen smiling, obviously not.
What's the challenge?
To do
What is-
one,
what is
commit to one thing that you're going to do that you can't fail at.
We're building integrity with ourselves, Allison, by taking small steps
For one day or 1 week?
for a life. One day at a time, one step at a time. Small wins. Really, it's about building rapport and accountability with yourself. And you know, we framed integrity as doing what you say you're going to do. So that's the challenge this week. Do what you say you're going to do. Get some Baja salt and check in with your accountability partners. And I think that covers it. Anyone else want to share anything before we say farewell for the week?
It's great to see you all, I have to say. Hi, Blaine, we didn't say earlier. Hi, Veronica. And Sarah, you look like a different woman, I have to say.
Oh, well, a lot can change in a month. So yeah.
Yeah, good.
Well, being at the beach helps for sure.
Yeah, I moved from the desert back to the ocean, so I can't complain for sure. It's good.
All right. Well, good deal. Well, good to see everybody.
Thank you.
Thank you, Freddie and Nicholas.
Have a
Take
great
care,
week.
Sam.
Our pleasure.